WKAR presents Quizbusters. Production of Quizbusters is made possible in part by Consumers Energy, building Michigan's future by supporting excellence in education. Consumers Energy, count on us. By the Michigan Education Association and its 160,000 members, advocating for a world-class public education that ensures a bright future for Michigan students and economy. Online at mea.org. And by viewers like you. Now, here's the host of Quizbusters, Matt Ottinger.
Thank you, Dan Bayer. Thanks, everybody. Welcome to Quizbusters. Glad to have you with us. If you were watching last time, and we know that you were, Lansing Everett advanced to the Green Division Finals. Today we're going to decide which of these two teams makes it to the White Division Finals as we welcome back to our program the Royals of Jackson Christian and the Hornets of Hillsdale. Let's introduce you to the players before we get started. Beginning with the Royals, that team is Stephen Bell, Zach Schneider, the captain Chris Cito, and Kennedy Wilson. Alternates for Jackson Christian are Matt Dubinsky, Katie Knowlton, and Chris Olmos, and the advisor for the Royals is Joanne Knowlton. And the Hornets from Hillsdale High School, that team is Donovan Verge, Bethany Bowen, the captain Elliot Krasny, and Michelle Bowen. And the alternate for Hillsdale is Jennifer Moon. The advisor for the Hornets is Amy Gramling. Two fine teams, only one can advance, of course. It is a single elimination tournament. We begin with the Quick 10. The first 10 questions are all toss-up questions to put the first points on the board. Good luck, everybody. The Quick 10 begins with question 1. What institute would you associate with its first leader, Booker T. Washington? Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
Tuskegee Institute.
Tuskegee, that's right for 10 points. Question 2. Who was the Greek god of departed spirits and the underworld? Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
Hades.
It's not Hades. No, I'm sorry. Hillsdale Elliott.
Pluto.
Pluto went the wrong way, Kennedy. It's the other one. Question 3. What word for response in psychology is also the term in electronics for the noisy result of an input-output loop? Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
Feedback.
Nicely done. Well solved. Question 4. What key is in the upper left corner of most PC... Hillsdale Bethany.
Escape.
The escape key in the upper left corner of most PC computer keyboards. That's right. Question 5. What naval vessel was nicknamed Old Ironside? Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
The Constitution.
The Constitution. USS. That's right. Question 6. What is the main metal in both bronze and brass? Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
Copper.
Copper is what they share. That's right. Question 7. What weather gauge was invented in 1643 by Evangelista Torricelli of Italy? Hillsdale Michelle.
The barometer.
Barometer is correct. Question 8. In baseball, what ratio is abbreviated ERA? That's your earned run average. Question 9. Who was known as the Bard of Avon? Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
Shakespeare.
Of course, that's right. Question 10. In law, what is the word for the unlawful killing of a human being without, Jackson Christian, Kennedy?
Manslaughter.
Without malicious intent. Good anticipation. Got that one? That's 10. Early lead for the Royals. As we finish the Quick 10, we play on. A main toss-up question now leads to a bonus category for one of our teams. Here we go, players. This president, elected as vice president on the National Union ticket, oversaw William Seward's purchase of Alaska. After he fired Secretary of War Edwin Stanton, the Senate found him in violation of the Tenure of Office Act and impeached him. Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
Andrew Johnson.
Andrew Johnson was the one who was impeached, the successor to Abraham Lincoln. Jackson Christian, first time in the bonus for you. Chris, you know the drill. You'll give me answers. Name these cities in North Dakota. First, originally called Edwinton, this capital's name was changed to honor a German chancellor in hopes of attracting German investment.
Bismarck.
Right. This city across the Red River of the North from Moorhead, Minnesota, is North Carolina's most populous.
North Carolina. I think he means Dakota.
Answer?
No answer.
No answer. Fargo, North Dakota is the city that is North Dakota's most populous. 10 for the first one. Up to 80 you go. New toss-up, everybody. This object was known as Sopdet, S-O-P-D-E-T, to ancient Egyptians, but its dark companion was first predicted by Friedrich Bessel. This southernmost component of the winter triangle has an apparent magnitude of negative 1.46. Canis Major contains Jackson Christian Kennedy.
Sirius.
Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. Back to the Royals. This process occurs anaerobically in the body when oxidative phosphorylation cannot be used to regenerate NAD+ for glycolysis. First, name this process that, among other things, is used to make alcoholic beverages.
Fermentation.
Right. In the body, this substance is formed during fermentation by reducing pyruvate. It builds up in muscles during exercise, but is not actually responsible for muscle soreness.
I think so.
Lactic acid?
Lactic acid, or lactate. Finally, this term describes organisms that can make use of oxygen if it is present, but can also undergo fermentation if it is not.
Anaerobic?
Is it anaerobic?
I think so.
Answer?
Anaerobic?
I need more, please.
Anaerobic or aerobic?
No, the term, the anaerobes are what are part of it, but it's facultative anaerobes. Tough one there for that 20 points, but you got 20 more. You're up to 110. We have our first pop quiz, one-on-one action. The letters A-R-M will begin all correct responses. A-R-M. Always like to say it twice. Stephen, Jackson Christian, Donovan, Hillsdale. Here we go. The whole of a nation's military force, or Stephen.
Army.
The Army, that's right. Next, the two-word term for a football fan, especially one who second guesses decisions made by a player or coach. Such a person would be an armchair quarterback. Finally, the final battle between good and evil. Stephen.
Armageddon.
Armageddon, any cataclysmic end of the world. Zach now, Jackson Christian, Bethany, Hillsdale. A fleet of warships. Zach?
Armada.
Especially the Spanish one, that's right. Next, the 20th century American band leader and jazz trumpeter, nicknamed, Zach?
Armstrong.
Armstrong, as in Louis Armstrong, nicknamed Satchmo. And finally, the former Soviet Republic, which, Bethany?
Armenia.
Right, she got it figured out in time. Armenia, between Azerbaijan and Turkey. Chris now, Jackson Christian, Elliott, Hillsdale. A mammal native to South America. Elliott.
Armadillo.
Nicely done. Frequently seen in Texas in that hard shell. Next, the 19th century business executive who introduced innovations in meat processing and who founded a canned meat company. I associate with the hot dogs. Armour, Philip Armour. Armour hot dogs. Finally, called the axilla in anatomy, the hollow under the shoulder joint. Where deodorant? Elliott.
The armpit?
Armpit is what I'm looking for. Barely beat Chris to that one, and we move on. Kennedy now, Jackson Christian, Michelle, Hillsdale. A temporary suspension of hostilities by agreement. Kennedy.
Armistice.
That's right. Next, the French term for a tall piece of furniture. Michelle.
Armoire.
Armoire is right. And finally, the man who on July 20th, Michelle?
Armstrong.
Nicely done. Neil Armstrong, 1969. Anticipation played off. Of course, the first man to set foot on the moon. Michelle didn't need any of that. All right, well played, everyone. We're moving on now. New toss-up leads to a bonus for a team. Here we go. This river's mouth is located northeast of Beira, B-E-I-R-A. The Shire River, S-H-I-R-E, drains Lake Malawi to this river that touches the Caprivi Strip and flows Hillsdale, Bethany.
The Congo River?
It's not the Congo. No, I'm sorry. Jackson Christian, I'll continue. Touches the Caprivi Strip and flows to Mozambique. Victoria Falls lies along, for 10 points, what African river? The near namesake of two nations along its path, Zimbabwe and Zambia. It's the Zambezi River. New toss-up players. This man who sends Ronaldo to spy on his student son in France warns one of his children to neither a borrower nor a lender be. The father of Ophelia and Laertes, he is mistaken. Jackson Christian, Kennedy.
Polonius.
Polonius is the one. Mistaken for Claudius, stabbed behind the curtain in Hamlet. Jackson Christian. This former world leader was killed in his hometown of Sirte, S-I-R-T-E, in October 2011. First, name this dictator who ruled Libya for 40 years.
Gaddafi.
Gaddafi. Gaddafi.
Gaddafi is right. During the preceding civil war, this group was led by Mustafa Abd al-Jali and was widely recognized as the new Libyan government.
I don't know the name of it. It's not.
Answer?
Al-Qaeda.
No, it's the National Transitional Council, the NTC. 10 points for Gaddafi. We play on. 100-point lead. New toss-up players. Examples of these properties include velocity but not enthalpy. Also called bulk properties, B-U-L-K, these quantities, such as concentration but not mass, are scale invariant. For 10 points, give this term for properties that do not depend. Hillsdale, Michelle.
Intensive?
Intensive is right, unlike extensive ones. Well done, tough one. Hillsdale, bonus to you, first time. Elliot, answers from you. Give me the answer, name these female African-American authors. First, this writer of The Bluest Eye told the story of Seta, S-E-T-H-E, in Beloved. And I need an answer.
Muammar Gaddafi.
No, took a bad break on that one. Toni Morrison, tough category for you. No points on the bonus. New toss-up players. Part of this country was occupied in Operation Litani, and it saw the subsequent massacre at Sabra facilitated by Ariel Sharon. Syria occupied it from 1976 until the Cedar Revolution. For 10 points, name this country. Hillsdale, Michelle.
Libya?
It's not Libya. No, I'm sorry. I'll finish it for Jackson Christian. For 10 points, name this country where Hezbollah was founded during a civil, Kennedy?
Lebanon.
Lebanon, a civil war that divided Beirut was the rest of that. Jackson Christian, to you, name these instruments rarely given solos in orchestral works. First, Ralph Vaughan Williams wrote a concerto for what lowest brass instrument in a standard orchestra?
Tuba.
Tuba.
Tuba is right. Michael Nyman, who won an Oscar for the score to the piano, wrote a concerto for what Baroque forerunner of the piano that plucks strings and whose loudness cannot easily be altered?
Harpsichord.
Harpsichord is right. Finally, on Yo-Yo Ma's The Goat Rodeo Sessions, Chris Thiele, T-H-I-L-E, plays what teardrop-shaped string instrument similar to a lute? Modern versions have 4 pairs of metal strings.
No, it's mandolin.
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 Mandolin is right. 20 points. Well done. You figured that one out. Full compliment on that one for pulling that last one out. Well done. And a big lead you've added to there. Well done. All right, 230 for Jackson Christian, 90 for Hillsdale. 2 great teams, though, and a lot more Quiz Busters to play. A lot can still happen. But right now, our players can relax while I remind you that our players are playing for fun, for pride, and all with your prizes. We're very close to those grand prize championship games. And here's Dan Bayer to tell you what those champions will win.
Quizbusters is pleased to announce the exciting prizes for this season's championship teams. Students from 64 area high schools are competing for academic excellence with the help of the MSU Office of Admissions and the Office of the Provost. Each division championship team will receive 4 $5,000 tuition scholarship offers to Michigan State University. Contingent on admission to MSU, each scholarship is awarded for the freshman year only and must be used immediately following high school graduation. Students must maintain at least 12 credits per semester. The Green and White Division champions will then compete for the Grand Championship, with that team eligible for up to 5 one-year, 2-semester scholarships from SBS. This scholarship is for the use of books up to a value of $500 each to be used by team members who are in their first year as MSU students. These terrific championship prizes are offered through the continued generosity and support of the MSU Office of the Provost, the MSU Office of Admissions, and the Student Bookstore.
Players in here while Dan's talking about that, dissecting their performances in the first half. We've got a lot more to play and a lot more right answers, so don't worry about the things we might have missed. Let's focus on the ones we're going to get in the second half. Pop quiz waiting for us halfway through. We'll end the game with that 60-second lightning round, playing for control of the video bonus category. That's all lined up, and it'll show up right there in just a moment. First, we got to get a toss-up answered. Here we go, players. In 1993, this politician headed the Healthcare Reform Task Force. In 1998, she used the phrase vast right-wing conspiracy in defense of her spouse during his Jackson Christian Zach?
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton is the one. Hillary Rodham Clinton. Well done. His impeachment trial. We've had references to impeachments of both of the presidents who've had that happen to them. Question 1 on the monitor right here in front of me, guys. You know that. We're going to hear from Lieutenant Colonel Michael Connolly, commander of Air Force ROTC at Michigan State. Here's Lieutenant Colonel Connolly.
The Department of the Air Force is led by a civilian Secretary of the Air Force, currently the Honorable Michael B. Donnelly. He reports to the Secretary of Defense, a position currently held by what former Director of the Central Intelligence Agency?
I think so.
Gates.
No, it's not Gates. Gates left. It's Leon Panetta, and has been for a little while now. Leon Panetta is the current Secretary of Defense. Tough break there. No points on that one. We're right back to new toss-up players. This rock group's 1969 tour, which ended with a murder at the Altamont Free Concert, is depicted in the film Gimme Shelter. Get Off My Cloud, Hillsdale Elliott.
The Rolling Stones.
Nicely done. First time he heard a reference and he got it right away. Hillsdale, bonus to you. Under Earl Warren, the Supreme Court decided several major cases. First, Kenneth and Mamie Clark's studies involving young children and dolls were used as evidence in what 1954 case overturning Plessy v. Ferguson that declared segregation in schools unconstitutional.
Brown versus Board of Education. Brown versus Board of Education.
That's right, of Topeka, Kansas, as a matter of fact. Baker v. Carr and Reynolds v. Sims both dealt with what process of drawing maps for legislative races?
Gerrymandering.
No, we can't take gerrymandering, unfortunately. The term in general is referred to as redistricting or reapportionment. Gerrymandering, a specific little offshoot of that. 10 points on your bonus. We've got a new toss-up players. This family's name means Hawk Castle, H-A-W-K, Hawk Castle. One of its members called the Diet of Worms to address the Reformation. The ascent of a woman from this family caused the War of Austrian Succession. For 10 points, name this inbred German dynasty that Jackson Christian Kennedy.
Habsburg.
The Habsburgs keyed on that one and included Charles V and Maria Theresa. Jackson Christian, back to you. The Bronsted-Lowry substances turn blue litmus paper red. First, name these substances that in aqueous solution have a pH of less than 7.
Acids.
Acids is right. In 1923, what American chemist defined acids as substances that accept a pair of electrons from another substance?
Who was that guy? I don't know his name. God, what's his name?
Answer?
Carter.
I'm afraid you're going to know it when you hear it. Gilbert Lewis, the Lewis acids. The Lewis acid-base theory is what that was called. 10 points on your bonus takes you to 260. 120 points on the line in our second pop quiz. Letters this time, players S-W-A. Everything begins with S-W-A. Outside's going in again. Stefan from Jackson Christian, Donovan from Hillsdale. A large, stately aquatic bird having a long, Stefan.
Swan.
Swan is right. Next. A title of respect for a Hindu religious teacher or anyone with apparent mystical powers. Swami, S-W-A-M-I is what I wanted there. And finally, to cause food to pass through the throat and Donovan.
Swallow.
To swallow into the stomach. Zach, Jackson Christian, Bethany, Hillsdale. A small, long-winged bird, noted Bethany.
Swallow.
Well done. We didn't fool you at all. Swallow again. That's right. Next. To walk around in an arrogant or Bethany.
Swagger.
To swagger is right. A pompous manner. Finally. A sample piece of fabric or Bethany.
Swatch.
Swatch is right. The brand name for a colorful line of timepieces that are way before you guys were born. Chris, Jackson Christian, Elliott, Hillsdale. The actress who won Oscars for her role, Chris.
Swank.
Swank. Hilary Swank is right. Boys Don't Cry, $1 Million Baby. Next. The ancient symbol adapted in, Chris?
Swastika.
Nicely done. 1933 as the emblem and so on. Finally, the company that developed a line of chicken and turkey products in 1945 and less than a decade later began putting them in frozen TV dinners. Swanson. Swanson's the brand of frozen TV dinners. Kennedy now, Jackson Christian, Michelle, Hillsdale. A large number of bees Emigrating Michelle.
Swarm.
Swarm is right. Next, the two-word phrase for a final pronouncement or act, especially the last creative work of a writer, Kennedy.
Swan song.
Swan song, writer, actor, or musician, that's right. Finally, spongy ground largely covered by Michelle.
Swamp.
Swamp is right. Well done, Michelle. 2 of those on that one. That's our quiz. The next time we hear the fanfare, we're playing the lightning round. A few more toss-ups and a few more bonuses. Until then, people, we're all back in for this. This author responded to a Henry Wadsworth Longfellow poem in the Jewish synagogue at Newport. One of her works refers to a mother of exiles, unlike the brazen giant of Greek fame. For 10 points, name this poet whose The New Colossus is featured on the Statue of Liberty. Hillsdale, Bethany.
Emma Lazarus.
Nicely done. Emma Lazarus is right. Hillsdale, to you. Name these things associated with the number 5. First, the world's largest office building is what 5-sided building? The headquarters of the Department of Defense.
The Pentagon.
Right. A hand consisting of 4 5s and a jack is the best possible in what card game scored on a purpose-built pegboard?
Cribbage.
Right. And for 20, the 5 Dion quintuplets, D-I-O-N-N-E, were born in 1934 in what country?
Canada. Romania.
Answer, please.
Romania.
Not Romania. They were Canadian-born, as a matter. Oh, and you were working on that, too, weren't you? Romanian-born. That would have gotten you 20 more. 100-point game, players. Back to a new toss-up. This could be key. These characters are bobbleheads in Samus's ship in Metroid Prime Trilogy and block carts in Mario Kart Wii's Coconut Mall. They study at Big Brain Academy, Hillsdale, Bethany.
Goombas?
Not Goombas. No, I'm sorry, Jackson Christian, I'll finish it for you. They study at Big Brain Academy Wii degree and are checked out in popularity contests in a namesake Wii channel. Kennedy?
Mies.
Mies for 10 points. Name these Wii avatars. Jackson Christian. Name these ecumenical councils of the Catholic Church. First, a namesake creed that begins, "We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty," emerged from what first council held in AD 325 in modern-day Turkey?
Nicaea.
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 Nicaea, the first council of Nicaea, the Nicene Creed. Next, what most recent council, called by Pope John the 23rd, approved the use of vernacular languages when celebrating Mass?
Vatican II.
Vatican II. Vatican II.
Vatican II, the Second Vatican Council. Finally, Anti-Pope John the 23rd called what 1414 to 1418 council that ended the Western Schism by electing Martin V as Pope?
Augsburg, maybe?
Answer.
Augsburg?
No, the Council of Constance was the third one. 20 more points on your bonus gives you 330. Brings us to the last 60 seconds, the lightning round. Nothing but toss-up questions remain for our players. Everybody's excited to get a few more right answers in. Nothing but 10 points up when they're right, of course, 10 points down when they're wrong. We've got 60 seconds left on the lightning round clock. The lightning round begins now. In what Texas city is the former chapel known as the Alamo? Stephen.
Houston.
Wrong. What Chinese-born American architect designed the glass pyramid at, Chris?
Pei.
Pei is right. With what war would you associate the rallying cry, "Remember the Maine"? Kennedy.
Spanish-American War.
Right. What part of the skull encases the brain? Chris.
Cranium.
Right. What is the 4-letter name for the watery part of milk left when curds have Chris.
Whey.
Right. What 4-letter abbreviation of French words would you find on a formal Kennedy?
RSVP.
Right. In general, where would you find a monster called a leviathan? Chris.
The sea.
Right. What name is usually given to the 30-year conflict between the houses of York and Lancaster? Kennedy.
Wars of the Roses.
Right. What navigator defeated the Spanish Armada and was the first Englishman to sail around the world? Chris.
Magellan.
Wrong. To a collector, what 4-letter word means something is in perfect condition? Kennedy.
Mint.
Right. What planet is 6th from the sun? Kennedy.
Saturn.
Right. For 10 points, it takes you to 400. You're our winners. Congratulations. San Antonio is where the Alamo is located. Sir Francis Drake was the Englishman I wanted who was the first to sail around the world, and that's our game. Hillsdale, I know it's a little disappointing when you come up against a team that can do that, but you have played magnificently with us all season long. Nothing to be ashamed of. I know you wished you'd been a couple more games longer, but we're delighted to have you here. We wish you the best of luck in the future. Jackson Christian, that last answer, and Kennedy was 666. Saturn, that was it. Got you to 400, an impressive total. You'll play, as you're familiar, you've done it before, in the White Division Championship next time. Congratulations. We have one more Green Division semifinal. That's between the Chieftains from Okemos High School and the Panthers from DeWitt. Should be a good game. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can follow all the action online. You may be watching our show online, for all I know. WKAR.org. If you're not, that's the way to do that. Click on Watch the Games, follow the tournament, the whole thing. Thank you for watching. For all of us, I'm Matt Ottinger. Enjoy.
Production of Quizbusters is made possible in part by Consumers Energy, building Michigan's future by supporting excellence in education. Consumers Energy, count on us. By the Michigan Education Association and its 160,000 members, advocating for a world-class public education that ensures a bright future for Michigan students and economy. Online at mea.org. And by viewers like you. Book Scholarship Awards are provided by SBS, the Student Bookstore, located at 421 East Grand River Avenue in East Lansing. Become a Quizbusters fan at Facebook.com. For more information about Quizbusters or any of WKAR's locally produced series or specials, visit our website, WKAR.org.